It's more or less a test and something new. So, um, why am I doing this movie? This video? Mm, it's about stories. It's about sharing ideas and memories, making our lives better because we know more. So I don't know, it's some time ago, a friend of mine, we had a conversation and I started telling a story. And now I'm going to share the story with you. Um, in the Netherlands, they have dams because of the flood. If the flood comes in, the water will salt the field and then it's useless. If the water comes in, then the harvest is gone and would be starving. So the dam is essential, is critical. Now, in those dams, back in the medieval times, they had rats. And those rats were digging long tunnels. So when the flood came, then the water would basically undermine the dam. Meaning the dam would break and the water would come in. So the people were thinking about this hard and long. What can you do? I mean, even if you kill 80% of the rats, those 20% can still kill a lot of people and can destroy the fields. And then comes famine. So back in the medieval times, people used what they had. So they took a barrel, caught 5 of them, and threw them in the barrel. And then they threw the barrel into the ocean. If you have a barrel and 5 rats, you have the sun and the salt water. So over time, that barrel will heat up, and all they can drink is the salt water. And the salt raises the need for regular water. So then comes hunger on top of it. And when those 5 rats in the barrel get into a crisis, they start to eat each other. So you have maybe, let's say, 5 barrels. You can catch 25 rats easily back in the medieval times. So 5 barrels, and in each barrel you have 5 rats, and they start to eat each other. To eat each other, that means at least one of them is going cuckoo. One of them is going wild, berserk. And that's the one that's probably going to survive. Now imagine that one rat. I mean, you don't have to imagine, that's what they basically did. They took this one rat and put it back in a tunnel. That one rat ate all the other rats. Because all the other rats died, the dam was saved. And that's why people survived. And this kind of rat is called the wolf rat. Back in the days in Germany, I did not know what to do. So I sold basically a tax incentive on the phone to people who have a tax burden of, I don't know, like 20, 30, 50,000. The law was, or the idea supported by a law was to take the core of the old house, like 100 years old, 5 stories, like German houses can be in stone, 5 stories, or even 6 or 7. So take out the core that was rotten and put in new technology, new batten walls, and pull in new walls and stuff. So I keep calling people, and I had this boss, right? And he was really like he was treating us like a slave. Even, apparently he was not really aware of it, but he did. His wife, just totally stupid. She did one thing and one thing only. She walked all day. There's like in Frankfurt a corner where there are normal people, and there's a corner where all the rich people are. And in that corner there was this one street where there were coffees back and left and right, left and right. And she really spent her entire day with the child drinking coffee here, drinking coffee there. And he made that money to afford it. And this guy told us, as a motivation, this story about the rat wolf, rat, I don't recall what it was, but he told us that story. So I was in my mind thinking, life is weird. I mean, it could have been any retard, it could have been any idiot, any brain amputated entity. But this guy, he was from North Germany. And with all the eventualities, he became my boss, and he told me this weird story about rats that went crazy. Here comes the bummer. So in those houses, as I said, like in Germany, 5, 6, 7 stores high, under the roof, they made a very expensive, I mean, depends how you look at it, apartment under the roof. And they put us in that apartment. So nevertheless, it was expensive and exclusive and blah, blah, blah. When the sun hit it, it was horrible. Hardly any air, not enough to drink. We were all sitting there calling the whole time, and he's telling us the story of those rats. Can you imagine? We were all looking at each other. Medieval. So calling people, helping them to get richer, well, sort of, you know. The problem was, according to the law, if you buy a house like this, it's going to cost you, I don't know, $1 million, right? And you pay it off with all your taxes. But the problem is, when they do the renovation inside the house and a door is half a meter too far right, you have to buy the whole house with your own money, if you want it or not. Some people got really screwed up. And then one day, this whole rat charade, it just like a pyramid scheme really just fell apart. Those guys were never seen again. That taught me something about the economy, didn't it? You never know, you gotta learn. Thanks for listening.